All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another week with Coffee with Monta. Today we have on Ana Meza, and she is with Rose Community Development. Anna, what is your role over there?
Hello, good morning. My role is co-executive director at Rose.
Nice, nice. So you have two executive directors, and do you all just share responsibilities?
Yeah, so the way we broke it down is I'm the co-executive director of community development, and our founding director is the co-executive director of real estate.
Ah, love it. Okay. So more on the development real estate side and more on the operational side kind of separation?
Yeah, we kind of like to think about as people and places.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great, great, great. Well, we're excited today to learn about Rose Community Development. So just to kick us off, can you just talk about your mission and a little bit about what you all are doing over there?
Yeah, for sure. So Rosa's mission is to build affordable homes and community to make outer Southeast neighborhoods strong and equitable. So this year, we're celebrating 31 years as an organization. And Rose got started, as a community-based organization when a lot of neighborhood leaders saw that there was a lot of vacant homes and empty lots in the neighborhood. And, they acquired a home, redeveloped it, and sold it. And so that's really how the mission started, of just really wanting to make our community and our neighborhood better, because we know that there's a lot of lack of funding, and just historically, East Portland has, kind of been annexed as the last step to the city of Portland. So a lot of the same infrastructure that exists in inner Southeast does not exist in outer Southeast.
Okay. And so what type of folks are you serving and how are they accessing the different housing sites that you are standing up?
Yeah, so I really like to say that we serve people from conception all the way to natural death. So we truly have housing for everyone, and in all stages of life. And so we have a property that's exclusively for people 55 and over. And then we also offer a lot of family size housing, so a lot of 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units, since we know that like a lot of families need housing, but they're not able to find something that is affordable in their community.
Yeah, so are you all is it mostly multi-family housing or is it single family homes or is it both?
So we primarily have multifamily housing,
Okay.
and we only currently have 11 single family homes.
Okay. And then are you all building housing, affordable housing, like putting together, are you using low income tax credits along with regional bond money and, all the other braided funding that comes together for those projects?
Yeah, we are actually, and we have a project in the pipeline right now. That right now, I don't know if this will be the official name, but for now we're calling it Very French, and it will
Okay.
be on Southeast 111th and Powell Boulevard.
Okay.
And that apartment will have 50 units, all under 60% of the median family income.
Okay. So all 60% AMI units, and then I would assume a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms.
Correct.
Nice, nice. Well, that's exciting. We are actually on our first housing development journey at Bridges to Change. And we have, let's see, we have 42 units going up, or, we have the land and we have the design and we're going through our funding stack right now. So it'll be over off 181st and Pine, which is on about a block off Stark. And
Yeah.
then also purchased the lot off of 83rd and Foster with permit ready plans to do 30 kind of micro units of studios and 1 bedrooms. So we're starting that journey.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. So what makes you passionate about the work you're doing over there?
Yeah, so I think for me it's really like looking at the work, and as I mentioned, just seeing how we're serving people at all stages of life. And we are an asset-based community development organization, so that means that we build on our community's existing strengths and assets, and don't really we don't come as like the savior or the expert, but rather try to guide people to advocate for their needs and create programs based on what they express as interests and desires. And so I started at Rose 8 years ago when I helped create the Lens Youth Initiative program. And the Lens Youth Initiative focuses on training high school age youth around environmental justice, social justice, leadership skills. And after the youth complete the training with us, then they are eligible to apply for paid summer internships with partner organizations like Singer Farm, Leach Botanical Garden, Portland Parks and Recreation, to name a few. And I really loved seeing the youth grow in their confidence and skills, especially when youth were at the beginning, they were so shy, so quiet, did not want to talk to anybody and just really keeping to themselves. And at the end, they're extremely sociable, talking to adults and their peers comfortably. I almost joke with them, oh my God, it's so hard to get you to be quiet now. For at the beginning, it was really hard to get them to even talk. And so, I've met some of the youth that went through the program after a few years, and they all express a lot of gratitude for the experience, or just say that it made a difference in their life. And so, that makes me feel really satisfied, and just I don't know, there's no ways to express the gratitude and satisfaction that I feel knowing that I made a difference in a person's life. And the same goes for housing. We know that housing is a human right, and being able to provide housing for families is so important, and allowing them to stay in their neighborhood and in their community for many years. We're not transitional housing. A lot of our residents stay on for many years. We have some residents that have been with us for as long as we've been an organization, and so it's just amazing to see them, grow and develop as people in our housing. And same goes, for a lot of kids, a lot of women that maybe had children while they were in our housing. We've seen them grow, from toddlers all the way now into adults. And it's just really awesome to see the development in people.
That's amazing. So along with housing services that you all provide, are you doing any type of other supports or education for folks that are in your housing programs?
Yeah, so we offer a resident services program. And so we have staff that are assigned to specific properties to offer site-specific programming. So what we offer at one apartment, we might not offer at another, but that just varies, based on what the residents at that property have expressed as a desire or a need. Or a want in their community. So, one of our properties, for example, has a cooking program that teaches young kids how to cook and use, the history of housing instability, food instability, and food deserts, and how that plays a role. And also, we do bike camps, so teaching kids how to bike safely in their community. And I've mentioned the Lens Youth Initiative. The Lens Youth Initiative is open to all community youth, versus all other programs are specific to just our residents. And yeah, I think, there's always a lot of need and desire for new things. So we're always exploring what else can we offer? Especially when we were going through the pandemic, we switched our direct programming into really offering services and providing food boxes, for example, so that, our community was very impacted by the pandemic. And so we were working to stabilize them as much as we could in such uncertainty.
Yeah, that's great. I think for us at Bridges, currently our housing continuum consists of a lot of transitional housing. We have about 600 plus beds across the Tri-County area, and single family homes, group living, primarily helping folks transition from either houselessness or coming out of incarceration and get the supports they need. And we know how vital it is to provide housing so people can feel safe and secure to actually work on the other barriers that they could be faced with. And one of the reasons we're moving into building multifamily housing is so we can add that next step in the continuum so people can live long and permanent in housing. And I would say, as you said, housing is a human right. And in our current state, specifically in the city of Portland, with all of our unhoused folks, being able to provide permanent housing is such a high need, but it's so hard to stand up these units so quickly. I don't know if you are prepared to answer this, but what do you have any kind of a Reader's Digest version of like, what is your all strategic plan vision moving forward to continue to bring on more housing for those in need?
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that, just the fact that, yes, we need more housing, and the the fact that we cannot build housing fast enough for as much as there is need and desire for it. So we're actually launching into a new strategic planning process this year. And so just, to be able to identify those priorities for us and like how to continue moving forward. And, I can tell you that for this last project that I mentioned, we had to apply for funding for 3 years, even though we've been ready and like we really want to build the housing, but we did not get the funding. And, if we don't get the funding, then we don't have the money to build it. So, it's just like a perpetual cycle. And for me, last year when we did our annual campaign, my slogan was housing is just the beginning, because I truly share that sentiment with you of like, housing is just like the very base, very minimum that people need in order to be able to advance and work on the other areas of their life, such as getting a job, obtaining an education, just being mentally stable and having access to other resources that they need. Like housing is just the beginning.
Yeah, I think what I'm experiencing as a new housing developer is it's not very easy to get it done, especially when we talk about, we can get, as organizations, we can get site control and find a piece of land, which is even difficult. But then it's really interesting that the funding mechanisms that need to be braided together they open at different times of the year. Like, so we need to do a better job at making the funding sources more accessible so things can get lined out strategically and efficiently. And like you said, it's 3 years, like to get the money together to build this thing. We're also learning through our process, we're going after regional bond money, which we may or may not get. And then we got to go after LIHTC. And then we got to get a personal loan on top of that, and then whatever other pots of money can be out there. It's very challenging and can slow down the process. And that's not even taking into account the permitting, the construction, and all the things, So it is very challenging. My hope on the funding side is Governor Brown's $130 million in her order that just passed the House and on its way to the Senate, I believe. Will help expand some other funding out there to get dollars to organizations like yours so you can finish and expand out other projects.
Yeah, absolutely. I really hope that they're able to live stream, like just synchronize all the funding opportunities. So like if you miss one, okay, then you can apply to the next one right away without having to wait a full year for another application opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I think that in a perfect world, these different funding sources would all be working together. So they're launching funding at the same time. So when organizations apply for one, they need A, B, and C. So why not launch them all together so we can get the applications done in one shot, and then we can move forward with our projects. So, again, just like all things, are systemically, it's flawed and has a ton of barriers to it. So, can you talk a little bit about how equity is showing up in your work over there?
Yeah, for sure. So at Rose, we launched an equity initiative back in 2017. And Rose staff participates in monthly equity meetings to learn about equity from different perspectives. And we also develop an equity lens to assess programs and decisions as an organization and identify ways to advance equity within our communities. So, as a housing organization, we know that racism and housing have been linked throughout U.S. history, and how racial discrimination led to redlining, which deprived people of color from accessing housing and wealth creation opportunities. And we know that there's still discrimination despite having fair housing laws. So even though we're not a culturally specific organization, we do have a lot of diversity in our resident demographics. And based on the numbers that we have right now, I will say like about 50% of our residents identify as BIPOC. And, because we are serving people with low incomes, then we know that like a lot of our residents are anywhere from the 0 to 60% in the median family income. So by offering affordable housing, we're hoping that, we can help our residents thrive in other areas of life and still have food, for food, transportation, utilities, and saving for long-term goals like buying a house that helps them build generational wealth.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We really appreciate the work that you all are doing over there. Integrating equity into a systemically flawed system is super hard, right? Especially around housing. As you just pointed out, all the inequities that are in the housing system. And then you have providers like yours who's integrating equity in the work. It makes it really difficult to work in the system outside of your organization to integrate that equity work. So can you talk a little bit about how people get involved with Rose Community Development?
Yeah, for sure. So in order to volunteer or support our work, you can visit our website, and our website is rosecdc.org. And in order to access our housing, so the vacancies and waitlists really vary property per property, but the information is also available on our website. And once you're on our website, it redirects people to the specific site and to the property management company, because they're truly the ones that take care of actually leasing and renting the apartments.
Yeah, so it sounds like you two are your property management is a third party. Yeah, that's what we're doing that as well. We do our own property management on all of our current housing units, but obviously when you get into affordable housing, you need to make sure you have the right property managers there to make sure your project's successful. Are you all doing your own in-house asset management, or is that third party as well?
We do have an in-house asset manager.
Nice. So in terms of we have such a work shortage, right? Are there any job openings that you want to give a shout out to for your organization right now?
We've been extremely fortunate that we have not had any turnover recently. So
Nice.
Sadly, to share for people that are looking for work, we currently do not have any job openings.
That is amazing. Well, chalk that up as a win. How can people find you all?
So I mentioned our website.
Yeah.
There you can find links to all of our social media channels. So we're on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm trying to convince my staff to go on TikTok, but they're not there yet.
Well, listen, Kit, who set us up in this meeting, we just hired her a couple of months ago, and I'm trying to push TikTok as well. So you should, let's do it. Let's get on the TikTok train. All right, Ann. Well, I know it's Wednesday, and I'm sure you got a ton to do this morning. I really want to thank you for taking the time this morning to have this quick conversation and sharing about Rose Community Development with us and the community.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great to talk to you, and thank you to everyone in the chat that tuned in. Yeah, hope you all have a great day.
All right, you too. Have a great day as well. Bye-bye.